In today's video, I'll show you how I analyze the skin tones of my portrait subject using Photoshop. Then together we'll mix our colors and prepare the palette. After I demonstrate mixing the colors, I'll paint our beautiful model following the Selective Start method. If you want to paint along with me, there's a link in the description where you can get the same photo reference that I use here. The site offers royalty-free images. They just ask that you let the people know who the photographer is. So this awesome photo was taken by Vinicus Altava. I hope I said that right. So you can see here that I've got the image pulled up in Photoshop and I put a little white border on the one side, and I'm going to hover my color picker over an area of the face, and then I'm going to use the brush tool to drop that spot onto the little white section. So I like to organize my colors so that I have all my lights grouped at the bottom and then all my mid values grouped in the middle, and then I'll group all the darker values at the top. So I'm going to be sampling quite a few areas, and when we're mixing the color palette, I'm not going to try to mix every single color that we sampled. I'll just get a good 3 or 4 different values that kind of mimic or state that value pile. Because you can see here in the mid value section, there's quite a few colors that are really similar. So rather than try to mix each individual one of those, I'll just make one group that represents those similar colors. And for this demonstration, I'm only going to be analyzing the skin tones, but you could analyze more. You could analyze the shirt, the hair. Also, you'll notice that I've cropped this photo and yellowed out the background. So it's a little different than the actual photo reference. Welcome to my channel, Shelley J. Cox. Come along with me on my art journey. Alright, let's mix some skin tones. Okay, here's the colors that we have on our palette. There's also going to be a list of the paints that I'm using here in the description. We're starting with titanium white, Naples yellow, yellow ochre, Winsor yellow, cadmium orange deep, vermilion, terra rosa, transparent oxide brown, viridian, cobalt violet, brilliant pink, Van Dyke brown. I'm going to start mixing the middle values first. I like to start there so that I can use a little bit from the middle value piles to create my lighter value piles. So our model has some beautiful rose brown colors in her midtones, and you can see here in the small picture where we've color analyzed the model's face. We took samples from her face, her hair, her eyes, her lips, and then we put each of those colors in one of our value piles, either the lighter, the middle, or the darker piles. So we're starting with the middle with those beautiful rose brown colors. Okay, we're going to mix up a good amount so that we have enough to use in our lighter values. So let's start with some transparent oxide brown and add in a little titanium white. That's a great base for a mid value flesh tone. Okay, let's add a little Naples yellow, which is a powerful color, but it works great to lighten up a mid value skin tone, and it won't give you a chalky look. You don't want to add too much white into your mid values. Okay, that made a nice color. Let's split that in half. Add a little bit of titanium white to the initial pile to make a little lighter version of it. So I'm using the titanium white here, but you may prefer to use a flake white or a lead white, which is a bit more transparent. That works really well in these mid values. I'm just used to the titanium white, so I stick with it. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. So with a little bit of paint on your palette knife, hold it up to the computer screen or your reference photo and compare it to your piles, and you can see if it matches. Okay, let's pull out a little bit of that and make a bit of a rosier pile. Okay, let's make it a little bit redder with adding just a touch of vermilion in there. All right, just a little bit more. I think we need just a touch more. It still could be a bit rosier. Let's go in again, get a little touch of vermilion. I tend to add those bright colors cautiously. You want to add them a little bit at a time, and eventually you'll get where you're going. There we go. That's a nice pinky brown color. Now, we're not going to be mixing every single dot on the color analysis that you see here. Some of the browns are quite similar, so we'll just group those dots together and make one pile that will represent that group, and we'll do that throughout the value colors. Okay, looks like this guy's a little dark, so I'm going to dip into the other two piles that we created that were already lighter and just lighten them up a touch. It's a little dark still yet. Let's grab some titanium white. I'm adding that instead of the Naples yellow because I want to keep it a cool color, and adding the titanium white will keep it cool. So I see a pile in the analysis that's a little bit mauve. So let's take some of this guy, a little bit of the other two that we already made, and add some cobalt violet. Okay, it's coming along. Let's add a little bit more cobalt violet. It's getting there. I want to add enough cobalt violet to make a difference, to show that it's different from the other three piles. I'm comparing it to the computer monitor screen, and it's getting close. There's a touch more cobalt violet to the pile here. Now I can see a difference. It's looking better. You don't want it to be too close to the other colors. You want enough difference for it to matter. I see in the analysis one of our piles is a bit lighter than the ones we have here. So let's take a little bit of the Naples yellow and some of this first pile and mix those together. Add a little titanium white. It's coming along, looking a little better. Good, that ought to do it. Okay, let's start our light value section. Let's grab a little bit of each of our mid-value piles, mix those together. It's a good starting point for a light value. Add in some titanium white, and then that's going to put us right in the middle of our light value with a neutral light skin tone color. It's going to be used in more of the highlight areas. And in the light value analysis section too, you can see we've got the white of the eyes in there, which is more of those lavender colors. And it looks like there's some wheat color in there and some pale pinks. Those are all going to be highlights into the eyes, or highlights in the hair, or highlights in the lips. Okay, there's a pink version here we're going to get with a touch of that Michael Harding Brilliant Pink. It's a great color to have on your palette. It's not necessary, but it is a nice addition to the palette if you'd like. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Nice pinky brown flesh color. I'm going to make another pink version a little bit lighter. Probably use it in the highlight of the lips. So we're going to grab a little titanium white, a little bit of that Michael Harding Brilliant Pink, and we still have some of that flesh tone color on our palette knife from that last pile we made, so those will mix in a little bit, and yeah, that's looking good. So when we did the color analysis of the eyes, in the white of the eye we have a light violet color and then a little bit darker violet color. So we're going to mix that using a little titanium white. And we'll get some of that cobalt violet. So if you've been painting portraits for any length of time, you know that the white of the eye is never just white. I'm letting some of the skin tones mix in with this violet color so it's not too saturated. It'll keep it knocked down a little bit. So I'm going to make a bit more saturated version of that. So we'll put some titanium white down, and then we'll grab some of that cobalt violet. And there you go, that does it. And here we'll mix up one more very light lavender tinted pile. I'm just going to add a touch of that brilliant pink to it. That's nice. So there is a light beige circle in our color analysis chart here. So we're going to mix that up. I believe that's going to be a highlight in the hair. So we'll start with a little bit of titanium white, and then we're going to grab some of that Van Dyke brown. That's a nice neutral color. It's got a little bit of a mauve tinge to it, but it is a brown. So it'll give us a nice neutral base to start with, and may need to warm that up just a touch. I want it to kind of resemble a warm beigey, sort of a wheat color. It's not too terribly saturated, but it is a little bit on the warm side, and try to warm it up with a little bit of that first light value mixture, adding that in. It's not quite getting there. It's still a bit neutral. Let's see. Let's add a little bit of yellow ochre. Now that's a powerful tint, so you don't want to add too much. Just a tiny bit usually will do it. It will overpower your mixture very quickly. And that did it. That's a nice warm neutral color. That'll make a nice highlight in the hair. All right, now we're going to mix up our dark values. Hold on. Looks like we're missing a mid-value rose color. Let's make that little brilliant pink. And some of our already mixed mid-value piles. Just mix that all together and that should do it. Give us a nice mid-value mauve pink color. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. Yeah. Could be a little lighter. All right, so let's add a little titanium white into there. Oops, sorry about that. I need to get a little more titanium white. Okay, let's get that on our palette. Seems like I never have enough titanium white out. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to keep one half of that pinky pile as is, and we'll just lighten up the other side of it. And we'll have two nice pinky colors. More than likely we're going to be using that in the lips. Let's put just a tinge of transparent oxide brown down to start our darks. Okay, we're going to add in some Terra Rosa. The darks are going to be used to depict the shadow areas, which you usually always, more than not, want them to be a warm color. So we've got that nice warm Terra Rosa mixed into that already warm transparent oxide brown. And I like my shadow colors to be a little bit on the transparent side, so the base being transparent oxide brown is a good starting point. Now we've got another pile with the Van Dyke brown. This one will be a little more opaque, so we're going to throw in some of the vermilion to warm it up. So this is going to be one of our darkest darks. It's going to be a nice opaque dark. Alright, let's make a tiny bit lighter version of that one. So add a little more Terra Rosa in there. A little bit more. That's looking pretty good. So that's looking pretty good. If you look at our color analysis in the dark value area, there's probably like 3 different values. And if you're on the value scale, darkest being 10, then we're looking at probably 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we've got 3 different dark value piles here. And so that's a pretty good place to start. I think that we could probably start our portrait with the colors that we've mixed so far on the palette. So these are just our starting colors. We'll be making more color piles while we're painting from the existing colors that we're starting with now. So what we've got here is a row of light value, mid value, and dark value paints. This is a great way to organize your palette, so while you're painting, you know if you're painting in the lights, you're only selecting colors from your light pile. Same with the mid and dark values. And here's a tip for you. So I've mixed my palette the night before that I'm going to paint the portrait. And what I'm going to do is put this palette in the freezer, and when I take it out in the morning, it's going to thaw out in just about 15-20 minutes, and then it's going to be just as if I had mixed it this morning, and I'm ready to paint. Okay, time to paint. So I'm going to be following a selective start method, and with that, you just select a spot on your reference photo, and that'll be your starting point. I'm starting with the left eye, and the idea with selective start is that each brush stroke you put down is touching the prior brush stroke to that one that you laid down. So you're not working on one part of your painting and then jumping far away to a background element or something like that. Every brush stroke you put down is touching the last brush stroke that you applied. So if you're using a computer monitor to view your reference from, it's helpful if your reference photo is the same size that you're going to be painting on your canvas. Later in the video, you'll see my actual setup. So before I actually laid any paint down, I kind of visualized on the canvas where the image was going to fall. So I made sure I placed the initial brush stroke in the right spot so that I didn't crowd to one side or not have enough room to fit the whole head on. So just visualize the entire painting kind of on the canvas, and then you'll know if you have enough room or not, and you can size your reference accordingly. And also, there's no reason why you can't either transfer the photo image like a drawing first on the canvas. If you want to do that, you could start with an underpainting, Whatever you need to do to get started, it doesn't matter. You just want to be comfortable and you want to have fun painting. So do it however it makes you feel good. I wanted to let you know, so this is not a time-lapse video. This is just sped up. You're seeing actually every brushstroke that I lay down to complete the painting. You're just seeing it done way faster than I actually paint. On average, a painting this size, which is a 12 by 12 canvas, takes me about 3.5 hours to complete when I'm doing it in this selective start manner. Now that doesn't include the mixing of the palette. That probably took us about 30 minutes or so, and then add that 3.5 hours on top of that, and then that's about how long it takes me. If you've been liking the video and you want to support my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Ring that bell too if you want to be notified of when I upload a new video. And thank you to all my subscribers. I'm sending you some hearts. So I'm just going to paint here for a bit. See the cheek transition here and how it's painted with a light value stepped into a mid, then stepped down into a dark value. In the transition of the cheek, you want to use different color paints to make each advancement towards the darker area. So your light color will be a little cooler, and then as you move towards the shadow, each step's going to be a little warmer. And just before you take that last step into the full-on shadow, that's where you're going to have your most saturated color. find small original paintings just like this one on my website. They're very affordable. Just go to ShellyJCox.com. If you've got any ideas for some paintings on some upcoming videos, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just leave a comment. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.